You see him on the news.
CNN.com contributor, Dean Obeidallah. So, Dean,
watch him at comedy clubs.
When I say Mecca, do you think of a holy place or an urban clothing line?
Read his articles, and you hear him on the radio. The Dean Obeidallah Show is on live right here on SiriusXM Progress, channel 127.
And welcome to the Dean Obeidallah Show, brothers and sisters of the resistance. Friday, February 1st. We're live the next 3 hours. I'm Dean Obeidallah, hoping to be your MBFF. On Twitter, at Dean Obeidallah, or you can watch the monologue now, or you can watch, we have guests in studio the second and third hour at Facebook.com/Dean of Radio. Last night, Tina Dupuy filled in for my last 2 hours. I want to thank her for doing a great job. I went and moderated a sort of a conversation with the former U.S. Attorney Preet Bharara for the Muslim Lawyers Association. It's not called the Muslim Bar Association because that would be kind of oxymoronic, like Muslims and bar. People are like, what? Muslim Lawyers Association. And it was an interesting conversation, hoping to get Preet to come on the show. We chatted about that. I asked him some questions. One point blank was, who did he think would get indicted next? He had no real clue, although he suggested perhaps someone, but he did make this very clear. He said absolutely Roger Stone will be convicted of a felony. And for a former U.S. attorney to say it with that absoluteness in his tone and his words, and it wasn't in any way hemming or hawing, he said Roger Stone will be convicted of at least one felony. And he knows that. As a former U.S. attorney, he knows the charges against Roger Stone that neither Robert Mueller nor any other U.S. attorney would bring based on the idea that, oh, maybe Roger Stone misspoke. No, they know he lied under oath. He lied in writing, and he tried to tamper with a witness. So Roger Stone will be convicted, and I feel confident in that when Preet Bharara says that. Something else good to hear. Here's last night Stephen Colbert on Donald Trump saying crazy things about his intel chief slamming him before Congress. Let's hear clip number 1, please.
Later this afternoon, Trump explained that what the intelligence chief said to Congress wasn't actually what they said to Congress.
Did you talk to your intelligence chiefs today about the displeasure you had with their testimony?
I did, and they said that they were totally misquoted and they were totally, it was taken out of context. So what I do is I'd suggest that you call them. They said it was fake news.
Sure, they said it was fake news. They said it was fake news and that the whole situation was very, very, and I quote, sad. That's what they said. What do you mean they were misquoted? There were cameras. It was live. We all watched it. I think we're seeing a preview of Trump's next big denial. You know, I spoke with the 2 lovely Russian ladies in that video, and they said their pee-pee was taken totally out of context. And then eventually totally out of the mattress.
So, and then here was Colbert doing something, and while you can't see the clips, obviously, you can hear the audio of it. And what he did, I think, is better than cable news did. And I think that some of the comedians have stepped up in their late night shows and SNL doing a better job to inform people than sometimes cable news does. So what Colbert did here is intercut one of his intel chiefs testifying before Congress on Wednesday about issues like ISIS and Iran and North Korea, and then intercutting with Donald Trump on those very same topics to show the horrible disconnect. It's laughable. So here you go, Stephen Colbert doing some great homework. Here's clip number 2.
To help you out, since you seem confused, we've provided the full context.
ISIS will continue to be a threat to the United States.
We have won against ISIS.
North Korea will seek to retain its WMD capabilities.
We're well on our way to get denuclearization.
We do not believe Iran is currently undertaking activities we judge necessary to produce a nuclear device.
The world's leading state sponsor of terror will be on the cusp of acquiring the world's most dangerous weapons.
We expect Russia will continue to wage its information war against democracies.
I have President Putin. He just said it's not Russia. I will say this. I don't see any reason why it would be.
Now, after reviewing all of that, some would say that Donald Trump is denying reality at a level that is clinically insane. Others would say that too.
What a great job there by Colbert, cutting those together, showing that was Dan Coats, the Director of National Intelligence, testifying Wednesday before Congress, and Trump just lying to the American people, lying to his base because he has no respect for his base. He feels like he can lie to their face. He doesn't need to give them facts because they're not going to speak out. And I wish they would. I wish they would be Americans first and Trumpian stooges second, because you deserve better than Donald Trump. And then today we had another Democrat announce his candidacy for president. We've had in the last couple of weeks been remarkable. Senator Kamala Harris, Liz Warren, Senator Gillibrand, and then today Cory Booker. And he did it. He released a video online today about his run. And being from Jersey, I've talked to Senator Booker several times. I've had him on. Last time I interviewed him for our show here was August at Netroots Convention. And I had him on one time before that. And we have a lot of mutual friends in Jersey. I have a lot of respect for him. Really fabulous, energetic speaker. You listen to him, it's like a pep rally when you're done. You feel great. And really smart, bright guy. And here's a little from his video that I liked a lot. Here's clip number 3.
I grew up knowing that the only way we can make change is when people come together. When I was a baby, my parents tried to move us into a neighborhood with great public schools, but realtors wouldn't sell us a home because of the color of our skin. A group of white lawyers who had watched the courage of civil rights activists were inspired to help black families in their own community, including mine. And they changed the course of my entire life. Because in America, courage is contagious. My dad told me, boy, never forget where you came from or how many people had to sacrifice to get you where you are. So over 20 years ago, I moved into the Central Ward of Newark to fight slumlords and help families stay in their homes. I still live there today, and I'm the only senator who goes home to a low-income inner-city community, the first community that took a chance on me.
So that's Senator Cory Booker, now formally a candidate for president for the Democratic nomination, first and foremost, in 2020. And that town that his family had to get lawyers to help him, a realtor, was in northern Bergen County. I'm from Bergen County, from more of the central Bergen County, but, you know, they would not sell or even show to a black family property. And his family had a struggle there. So, you know, Senator Booker, I think, is going to be a really formidable candidate, and it's going to be an exciting time seeing all of our candidates on the stage come June, the first official primary debate that the DNC is sanctioning, so I don't think they'll debate before that. But here's some stupidity. Here's Kellyanne Conway on Fox News today. Hold on to your hat, because this is just dumb. And there's no other way to put it, just dumb, dumb, dumb. Here she is talking about Cory Booker announcing, and here's her take as Donald Trump's spokesperson on Fox News. Here's clip 4.
Jersey announced this morning that he's going to be running for president. It's a Friday. We're heading into the weekend. What is the administration's reaction to that?
Welcome. The water seems warm. Welcome to dive in along with, 10, 15, 30 other Democratic candidates. I would ask him a couple of questions today as he runs from my native New Jersey. One is, what's wrong with the candidates that are already in there? What's your objection to Kamala Harris running, Elizabeth Warren, Kirsten Gillibrand, these others who have already announced, Tulsi Gabbard maybe? If he were a Republican running against him, they would immediately call him a sexist for running against these women in the Democratic field.
So you have the question was, what is the administration response? Well, that Cory Booker is sexist because he's running against women in the field. Now, of course, there are already men in the field. Julian Castro, John Delaney, the former congressman, Andrew Yang, and others. But it doesn't matter because in her view, it's sexist that he would dare run against a woman. Of course, Donald Trump ran against Carly Fiorina and made fun of her face, saying, look at that face. Would anyone vote for that? Can you imagine that, the face of our next president? Of course, Trump bragged about sexually assaulting women. Donald Trump has defended men and called women liars, defended men like Rob Porter, his aide, who beat his 2 ex-wives. We even saw a black eye of his ex-wife. We saw Donald Trump, Kellyanne Conway's boss, mock Dr. Christine Ford for laughs at a rally. But sexist is running in a field, and there are women in that field. That's unreal. Now, I think part of the reason, at least what I saw online, that Cory Booker announced today is that today is the first day of Black History Month. And, you know, I think it's interesting. You have Black History Month, and in the time of Trump, it seems more relevant than ever. And I'd love to hear from African-American people. I'm not trying to tell people in another community how they feel. I'm just saying from an outsider, it seems very relevant more than ever, more than just like this kind of nice month where people say things and there's specials on TV. But we have a president who has intentionally called African Americans, leading ones, Maxine Waters, Jay-Z, Don Lemon, and the list goes on, low IQ, dumb, unintelligent. He has called people coming from Africa, calling it an S-hole country. And a little history of Black History Month. And I think ultimately here, it intersects today's politics. I mean, Black History Month is federally recognized. We all know this. It's a nationwide celebration calling on Americans to reflect on the past contributions of blacks to our nation. Now, the father of it, it's known as the father of it, the person given the credit for the idea of Black History Month, and at the time it was not a month, it was called Negro History Week, was Carter Woodson. He was a pioneer in the study of African American history. He's the son of former slaves. He spent his childhood working in coal mines and quarries, struggled, got his education, went on to get a master's degree in history from University of Chicago and a doctorate from Harvard. And he distributed history books. The history books he looked at, he noticed there was nothing there about the contributions of African Americans to our nation. So he took it on his own to fight for that. And he established the Association for the Study of Negro Life and History. And in 1926, he developed Negro History Week to look at the achievements of Negroes at the time. That's the wording of it, obviously. And it changed. The reason he chose February for this week, and it was very specific to a week, because of two important people in his view that had contributed so much to the black experience in this country. First, Frederick Douglass, of course, who was an escaped slave and became a civil rights leader. His birthday was February 14th. And then President Abraham Lincoln, who signed the Emancipation Proclamation, and he was born on February 12th. In 1976, Negro History Week had evolved already in name, but became Black History Month when Gerald Ford, the president, then officially recognized it, calling upon the public to, as he put it in his words, seize the opportunity, the too often neglected accomplishments of black Americans in every area of endeavor throughout our history. And for his work, Woodson has been called the father of Black History Month. So there was a lot of postings on social media today about Black History Month. And there was some that caught my eye. Shirley Chisholm, there were some great pictures of her. But there was another one, a poem by Langston Hughes. And Langston Hughes, everyone's going to know one poem of his. He's a famous poet, novelist, fiction writer. Some know many things. The one poem you would know is about the raisin in the sun. The poem was actually called Harlem. And the idea, what happens to a dream deferred? Does it dry up like a raisin in the sun? The poem goes on from there. But the poem that was making the rounds today, and I had never read it, and I read it, and I found it to be very moving, and I think very relevant. A poem written in the 1930s, 1937 to be exact, that I think is relevant today as the time that it was written. And the poem's title is Let America Be America Again. 1935, I'm sorry, it's 1935. Let America Be America Again. And he talks about this contrasting views of America. The view of white America, of what this nation stands for, but the real world of what it meant to him and other African Americans at the time in 1935. And it talked about his dream. You know, the American dream for so many, and even today when we discuss it, it's going to be like the one that I talk about. My father came here as an immigrant. My grandparents came here as an immigrant. Langston Hughes and his American dream was one simply of equality. Simply one where your freedom is a freedom from discrimination and being called hateful words simply because of the color of your skin. And I was taken by the title, Let America Be America Again. And I'll read some of the poem. I'll try to do it justice here. It's a long poem. I'll just read part of it. But Let America Be America Again, instantly in my mind conjured up Trump saying, Make America Great Again. And with that contrast, I read part of this poem that I found moving and powerful today. And here's some of it. It's a long poem. We'll just read parts of it that I think are really relevant here. It begins, though, Let America be America again. Let it be the dream it used to be. Let it be the pioneer on the plain, seeking a home where he himself is free. America never was America to me. He goes on to say, Oh, let America be America again. The land that it never has been yet, and yet must be. The land where every man is free. The land that's mine, the poor man's, Indians, Negroes, me. who made America, whose sweat and blood, whose faith and pain, whose hand at the foundry, whose plow in the rain, must bring back our mighty dream again. Sure, call me any ugly name you choose. The steel of freedom does not stain. From those who live the leeches on the people's lives, we must take our land again, America. Oh yes, I say it plain. America never was America to me. And yet I swear this oath, America will be. And then he concludes, out of the rack and ruin of our gangsters' death, the rape and rot of graft and stealth and lies, we the people must redeem the land, the mines, the plants, the rivers, the mountains and the endless plain, all the stretch of these great green states, and make America again. He ends with, and make America again. One word from Donald Trump's make America great again. The only word missing is great, because their dreams are drastically, black and white, not to have a pun, different. Langston Hughes' dream was simply equality, being free from discrimination and hate and beatings for simply walking the street. There was not even a civil rights movement or a civil rights act or a voting rights act even contemplated at this point. His dream in 1935 was simply freedom to exist in this country with equality and make America again. Because in his view, the vision of America was never realized by African Americans. It was white America's dream of this nation. So his nation is one of equality. While Donald Trump's Make America Great Again, one word difference, unbelievably different dream. Donald Trump's dream is very clear, and you can see it from his policy and his actions. From wanting to build a wall to keep brown people out, to calling white supremacists very fine people, to refusing to denounce David Duke until shamed, to retweeting white supremacists during his campaign, to demonizing Muslims and Latino immigrants, to discriminating and trying to ban transgender Americans from serving in our military, to standing with every man accused of wrong while calling every woman a liar who comes forward. These are the visions of America that are contrasting right here. So when I read Langston Hughes' poem, I find it moving. I was almost in tears earlier today thinking about this. His simple dream of equality, and Trump's dream is to go backwards to his America again. His America again is one where my father, the Muslim Palestinian, does not belong, where black people are demonized, where brown people are demonized, where at best we are tolerated but not wanted. You know, Langston Hughes died in 1967. If he was alive today, this poem, he could write this today. I think it would resonate as powerful as ever. So that is my little view of Langston Hughes and his remarkable poem. And I can't even imagine what through his mind in 1935 to write this poem. You know, not even the idea of voting and civil rights, just to be free to live and not be attacked and killed and demonized and called names. That's his vision. So I'd love to hear from you. First, you know, it's Friday, and you're my guest at the top of the hour. There's a lot of political stuff going on. Anything you want to talk about. If you're African American, I'd love to hear, is Black History Month meaningful to you? Is it something that media talks about each month? It's kind of pro forma, doesn't mean something, or does it mean something? And does it mean something now in the time of Trump it did not mean before Trump? I'd love to hear from you on this issue. And later in the month, we'll cover it with African Americans talking about, but I'd love to hear from listeners the idea of, does Black History Month mean something? And what does it mean to you? And what do the words of Langston Hughes mean anything to you? Or do they just resonate with me? 866-997-4748. You're my guest right at the top of the hour. Give me a call. I'll be right back with more of the Dean Obeidallah Show right after this. You're listening to the Dean Obeidallah Show, where we crush Trump's lies every single day.
On Sirius XM Progress 127.